Hey guys, welcome back to another video today, to another devlog of the unnamed FPS shooter that I'm working on. I apologize that it's been a while since the last time. I had another interview and I had to do a take-home test, which they let me have a week to work on it, so that's what I've been working on lately, and I recently submitted it, so let's see how that goes. But yeah, so I got time to actually jump back on this again, and I can put a little bit more of my focus and my time. So yeah, I hope you guys are doing great, doing wonderful, and are excited to know more of what's happening in this series. So in the last devlog, we went over adding like ammo into the gun, aiming, and working into like the red dots and all that kind of stuff. So in this video, I wanted to go into doing the procedural animations for this gun. Like I mentioned before, majority of the animations for the actual character animations to be more procedurally depending on the weapon you're using, because every weapon is going to give you a little bit of different movement on your arms and all that, and how you aim and all that kind of things that are going on when you holding a gun. Every weapon, it's a little bit different, because some weight less, some weight they're pretty heavy, like LMGs and all that. So I wanted to make it a little bit more procedurally so that I could have more control over it and be able to control that on my end and tweak them and all that. So that's what the first thing I want to work on, and be able to do procedural aiming, doing a little bit more of like swaying and all that, just like how Call of Duty has it. So we'll watch a clip on it. So let's jump on that clip. So jumping into Call of Duty, I'm working when I'm in a firing range, and I have this vast speed gun here, and as you can see, when I'm moving, it creates this like bopping effect that I would like to add into the game, because right now I'm moving on all static, right? So I would like to create this effect where if I move forward, it creates this bopping effect, and if I go left, the gun turns a little bit to the left and a little bit to the right depending on which direction I'm going. And combining these, it creates this like effect of bopping effect that I would like to have. And that's basically the premise here. So it's basically, the idea here is to create transform modify bones in an animation, and be able to create some values for the walking. Maybe it could be like a curve, so you can modify it a little bit easier. And as this curve is updating, passing those values in the transform modify bones, and it will create this bopping effect. Basically, that's like the main premise on this, and creating this procedural animation for this walking effect here. All right. So jumping back on Unreal, after implementing all that, and creating all those transform modify bones and all that, and adding those values in there, we can test this out a little bit more. And oops, where did my view screen go? I just wanted to make it larger. Let's make it a little bit bigger. There we go. Cool. So we're back here again. Be able to, let's pick up an M4, and as you can see, as I walk, it creates this little bopping effect, right? And that's kind of cool right now, because before you were not able to do that. In the last video, if you saw, he was moving all statically, and it's kind of cool right now, just because the character animations is actually static when it comes to the arms, and be able to do this procedurally, and modifying, doing like the transform modify bones nodes and all that, and writing the code for it to do this bopping effect. It kind of makes it natural a little bit, right? And when I move to the side, the gun moves to the side, and when I aim, you can see there's a little like tiny bit of bopping kind of happening when you're aiming, right? I think what I want to do with this is actually make the gun, or the aiming, to be a little bit closer to the camera, for at least for this gun. I feel like it's a little bit too far away, but that's something that can be tweaked on later. But as you can see, it's a little bopping back and forth, and that's what I want. And when I walk too, the bopping gets a little bit more, because that kind of makes sense, right? Because you're moving forward. And all of this stuff can be tweaked in the future. Like, let's say maybe you have perks, like how Call of Duty does it, or maybe not perks, more like attachments. Like certain attachments will make it so that a recoil and swaying, all this values that can be changed in the future, that can be tweaked to make it a little bit better. And there isn't like a crazy recoil happening when it comes to it. But yeah, look at that. That's pretty cool. So I can drop this and you can test it out with other guns too. Let's drop this. Let's pick up this one. And as you can see, this also pops a little bit when I aim. And it creates a little bobbing effect as well. I need to look at to see if the actual SMG, the M11, I believe this is what the M11 is. It actually, the iron sights is like this. It's kind of crazy. Or maybe you just have to be putting it closer to the camera, but then it kind of blocks the entire camera, right? I don't know. I'll have to look into it. The only reason why I put it here in the iron sights is because the iron sights is right there where the crosshair is at, the little dot. And there's a hole in the gun in here. So I thought this is where it needed to be at. But correct me if I'm wrong. If you guys know, if any of you guys are more into weapons and all that, feel free to post it in the comments and let me know. But yeah, but it's definitely better with a red dot. So for sure, right? Definitely better with the red dot. But yeah, like look at that. You can see a little bopping effect. I should probably have done it with the red dot at the beginning, but it's a little like moving back and forth, right? And then when I move forward, that increases a little bit. But cool. So you know, we implemented that already, which is pretty sweet. The next thing I would like to do in here is, or be able to talk to you guys about, is the recoil. I wanted to make it similar to how I haven't really paid attention to other games, but I play a lot of Call of Duty, and I wanted to make it very similar to how they have it there with the recoil patterns and all that. And I think that'd be pretty sweet to be able to have that in here. So jumping back into the firing range, I have this gun here. That is the SVA, and I did some testing here, as you can see. So if I were to shoot right now, so with the recoil, but like every gun has different recoil patterns, right? And this one compared to other ones, it will be different. So if I were to shoot up, and then as you can see, it goes up and it starts shooting a little bit to the left. And with certain attachments, so I added a couple of attachments to this SVA, and as you can see, I'm gonna test it out. So these three were part of SVA, and I added an underbarrel, a rear grip, a muzzle. Once I start shooting, you can see it's a little bit more compact compared to this one right here, right? And that's basically the main premise of what I wanted to have here. It's a little, depending on the attachment that you create, you can reduce the strength of that and be able to control that recoil a little bit better, and to something that is, you know, feels good to you. But that's for attachments in the future. But I just wanted to show you that every gun will be different. I had this other one over here that was for the BAS-B, where it shoots a little bit up, and it goes a little bit to the right, and it goes up, and it goes back to goes to the right a little bit more. So every gun will be different. Another thing that I wanted to test out, not test out, but I wanted to implement into the game, is to have the weapon clip effects. I mean, it's not effects, but it's a weapon clip that when you're too close to the wall, the gun will go through the wall because the gun is in front of you, right? And the way that games that, and there's different ways that you can do this to fix that. You can create another camera to render the gun on top of it, but that has its own pros and cons, right? You can do another way or another technique where you scale down the gun when you equip it, and since the gun is too close to the camera, you won't even notice the difference that the gun is too small, right? You're not even gonna notice it, and that's pretty good as well. It has its own pros and cons as always. And the other technique is be able to have like a shader where you make the gun render its pixels a lot closer to the camera, and that has its own pros and cons, which is the way that I'm probably going to be doing it for now. with that one, the cons for that one is just the shadow's gonna be weird and it's not gonna be correct. And I'll show you that when I'm in the game, but I'm not entirely sure what Call of Duty uses when it comes to it. But as you can see, you don't see the gun clipping to the wall. None of that happens here. But the weird thing, which is sometimes people can see that in the other side. So if I had another player here, he will actually see the gun go through the wall because it doesn't work for the other side, right? It only works for you because you're the one watching it. You don't want to see your own gun go to clip to the wall. And the same thing works when you're in multiplayer, where sometimes there's just a guy in the corner of a wall, and you can see its gun actually popping in the other side of the wall, right? And you're like, oh, hey, there's a guy over here, right? And you could probably do some bullet penetration on that guy because you know it's there. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that because I wanted to implement that in the meantime. As I'm implementing the weapon recoil. So yeah, let's get on. Jumping back on here again, after implementing the recoil patterns, we can test that out a little bit. So we can, you know, pick up the M4, pick up the gun. So when I aim, you can shoot. You can see that this is going up, and then it goes back to the original position, which is something that I wanted it to have in here. So if I shoot, boom. Oh, I ran out of ammo, but boom, and it goes back to the original position. And every gun is going to be a little bit different, right? Some can shoot to the right, some can shoot that way, or some can go up and then go right, and then be able to go back to original. But it will only go back to original position if it stays in the same place. If I shoot and then rotate, it will not be able to go back to the original position. At least that's the way that I would like for it to be like. So let's test out on a different gun. I mean, this is probably a gun I'm not gonna have in the actual game, but this is just for testing purposes, right? So we can go in here. We can then, see, like this one goes to the right, and then it goes back to original position. Cool. So if I do this and then rotate, and then it doesn't go back to the original position where it was over here because I rotated. But cool. This is looking pretty good, guys. Looking pretty good. And I plan in the future to make this to be more, I guess you could say modular. Every gun will be different, right? So I'll eventually be creating like a data asset for this, for the guns, and each one will be modified differently, either with a curve or with some values that you can put in the data asset, and it can be per gun. So that's how you can create these patterns here. Every gun is going to be a little bit different than the others, and at least that's the plan. I need to figure out which will be easier, with values would be better, or with the curve. But then again, I'll need to look into that, because I want to also be able to improve the recoil pattern for this gun, depending on the attachments that you will have, because there could be some attachments that can improve your recoil or ADS. And like right now, every gun has the same ADS, but I'm just gonna make it so that guns gonna have different. I do like how Call of Duty does it. So that's something that I would like to test out. Some other ones, maybe like Escape from Tarkov and PUBG, and like I want to have something similar to how Call of Duty has it, but I do also like PUBG because I play PUBG as well, and I do like the way where you're looting everywhere, you find an attachment, you go to the UI and be able to attach that attachment to that gun and be able to remove it and put it into another gun. I do like that aspect that Call of Duty doesn't have, and be able to go like in the actual game or the level and be able to pick up another attachment and replace it with a different one, right? At least that's the plan. But yeah, so that's good. So let me put some check marks here. So we did a pretty, like a lot of stuff here. The next thing I wanted to jump in, and I mentioned that in the last video, and that is the leaning. I would like to be able to lean when you're in like in a corner of walls, and be able to either lean left to the right to be able to peek in or something like that. I think that's pretty cool. There's something cool that I like about games that do that. So I would like to implement that in here, and I can always take it off if it ends up not working or not looking well in the demo that I'll be creating for this. So after implementing it, let's pick up this gun here real quick. Sure, we'll pick up a red dot just because this gun doesn't have any iron sights on it. It just looks weird. So we have leaning and with the weapon clip, right, where gun clips into the wall, and I've implemented that already. But like I mentioned before, that comes with a lot of issues with it due to shadows and things just jumping back and forth. But actually, this jumping back and forth can be fixed a little bit. But after being able to fix it, the shadows look different. Like you can see the shadow of the actual of the gun right there. And the reason why this switches back and forth is because that's how I wanted it to be like, because I didn't want those shadows to be weird all the time. Because if I had it active at all times, it will be kind of weird. So what I did instead is that if there's a ray cast that shoots from the front of the gun, and that hits a wall, and then it activates that weapon clip, right, and tells it to do that, and so that it doesn't actually render on top of inside the wall. So, and once I'm further away, then it goes back to normal. But I got to figure out which way I want to do that. Feel free to let me know what you guys think. But I'm debating if I were to keep the one that I have right now, I'm debating if I want to keep it active at all times and just screw that, right? And the shadows are always gonna be wrong, or what is it okay just for shadows to be fine? Because you're not always going to be in front of a wall, right? You're never going to always be looking at a wall. It's just going to happen random, right? But I don't know, it's something to think about. Feel free to let me know what you guys have if you guys have any thoughts or any feedback on this. Feel free to post in the comments. But yeah, so that's it about the weapon clip. But I would also like to show you about the leaning. So I wanted to say I'm getting shot by somebody over there in that area, and I'm hiding behind this wall, but I want to see what's going on over there. So what I can do is I can lean. As you can see, this weapon clip effects doesn't work because the recast in front of the gun is not hitting the wall. It's not colliding with the wall. So it says, oh hey, you're not in front of a wall, so we're disabling that trick. So, or that feature that I added here with the weapon clip effects. So, but anyway, so yeah, I want to peek in and see what's up over here. Where he went, maybe he went to the left. I don't see him, and all that. So you can peek up to the left, you can peek to the right, and do all that. But cool. Actually, this thing it's in a good place where I'm excited where it's at. I could do a lot of things about this, but I definitely got to add that asset that I want to do, so I could be more, I can tweak the guns to be different per gun. And I think in the end I want this, it's not going to be perfect, right, because I'm gonna be tweaking it, and it's gonna take a lot of time to be able to tweak every single gun. So that depends how many guns I have in this demo or whatever, right? But it definitely takes some time to be able to tweak every gun and make it the perfect tweak for every gun. So I think after that, all it comes down to is just tweaking the values and making it feel right where it needs to be at depending on the gun that you're using. But yeah, I'm excited where this is going. The next thing, so like I mentioned, was to create the data asset, and after that, I would like to make this work in multiplayer, or making this networked, right? I can start. If I were like to create a game, I could grab like maybe a team deathmatch or kind of thing happening here, and all that. So definitely would like to make this work in networking and make it networked. I would love to jump into that, and I highly doubt there would be an extra time to be able to do the next thing, which is making AI or NPCs and all that, the enemies, opponents, and all that. Be able to roam around, be able to shoot them. So it's still a little ways down the line, but I would like to start jumping on the network so it's not all at the end, and last minute, right? So that'll be the next thing. But yeah, this is it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, feel free to, like the video, subscribe for future videos, so you don't miss them. And that makes me see that you guys are interested. I can keep popping and uploading more videos for you guys in the future. So yeah, hope you guys have a wonderful day or a wonderful night, and I'll see you guys next time. And also, before I end it, feel free to always, provide feedback for the demo that you're seeing and say, hey, I would love for you to work on this aspect of the game. It would be a great thing to have in the game. Feel free to post it in the comments. I'm open for any feedback or suggestions. So, yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Signing out, guys.